All right, got something a little different today. This is a 2014 Ford Explorer. And it's got a little exhaust leak. Let me start it up and let's see what it sounds like. It doesn't sound too bad, but from a little bit of investigation, it sounds like it's coming right from underneath the driver's seat. And this one here has had the front wide pipe and flex tube has been replaced before. The flex tube had broken. In this case, it looks like the pipe itself is cracked by the hanger on the Y tube. So I'll set the hoist and we'll get it up in the air and take a look. So it was a little bit cold this morning. It was 29 degrees when I came out here outside, and it was about 46 in here. So I fired up the heat and got it up to 60 before I came back out here. And this is the Y pipe from the front of the engine, the back of the engine. We follow that down. Normally here on the OEMs, this has been flattened here to clear the subframe, but this is an aftermarket part. So that actually was round, and it's hanging a little bit lower than the OEM. And there's the flex coupling. There's the leak. And there's the clamp from the Y pipe to the muffler. And then from the muffler all the way back, I don't think there's any more clamps. I think it's all one piece. There's no issues with the rest of the piping or the muffler or the two mufflers in the back, the resonators. So here you can get a look at the front connection. It's actually pretty low on the car. You can see it pretty well. We got two nuts. The nuts don't look like they're in too bad a shape. The threads look really good. So we should be able to get those off pretty easy. And there's a gasket in here that you have to replace. And most of the aftermarket kits do come with an exhaust gasket. So that way is the front of the vehicle. This is the connection on the rear of the engine. And this one's also got a couple of studs. The nuts are getting kind of rusty, but looks like they're pretty solid. And I doubt that we'd be able to get these off with any sort of lubricant or, like a WD-40 or penetrating oil of any kind. So I'm going to use, I have a torch, so I'm going to go ahead and use a torch. A propane torch might work, but I have oxyacetylene. I'm going to go ahead and use that. So you can see that the flex portion of this pipe is starting to deteriorate a little bit. It's coming a little bit detached. It doesn't appear to be leaking. The real problem happens to be right here. So here you can see that's separated right at the weld. The other side is the same thing. The top looks like it's starting to do the same thing. A lot of rust. And like I said, this pipe had been replaced before. It looks like it needs another pipe. I'm tempted to try and re-weld this for fun, but I'm a terrible welder. So we're gonna go ahead and replace the pipe. Preliminary look, these pipes you can get them for as low as $100 to $150. It goes from here to the connections up on the engine, the catalytic converters. Or you can go to OEM and get them at like one of these Ford wholesaler websites, and they run somewhere around $500 or $600. So we're probably going to go ahead and get the cheap aftermarket one and see if we can get another 40 to 60,000 miles out of the exhaust. The rest of the exhaust looks pretty good. Thank goodness for stainless steel exhaust systems. Not like the old days when you're lucky if your exhaust system lasted 3 years. A rather long package arrived today by, I don't know, UPS or FedEx. And I assume this is the exhaust pipe for the Explorer. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this thing open and see what we got. Well, that pretty much looks like what we were looking for. a little bit different style than the aftermarket one we're going to pull off. This one was, I think, about $115 delivered. Looks like everything that was promised is in here. So we've got a clamp that's going to go on the end that's heading towards the back. They gave us a couple bolts and a couple nuts and a couple washers. So we'll sort that out because we got 4 nuts on the current one, and I can't remember if that's something that we did when we replaced the last one. It's got one flange gasket. So this one here is a tapered flange. So that doesn't have a gasket. And the flat gasket goes here. So it looks like we got all the pieces. Picture looks a little bit different than, the actual pipe looks different than what was in the picture. This pipe has been flattened to here to go underneath the subframe, so that's good. It almost looks like it's been beat with a hammer or something. It doesn't look very professional. This is a pretty good looking weld here. So this is the flex coupling. That looks pretty nice. And of course the hanger that was on there, and I think the original hanger from Ford has got actually two straps. And we'll see how that all fits. Okay, we're gonna get this exhaust pipe off of here. I'm gonna go use my torch. I gotta cut this clamp off, and then I gotta heat up the 2 nuts up front here before I put the socket and wrench on it. Sparks are coming your way. Okay, hold it.
Oops. Sorry.
Okay, this clamp has an extra spot weld holding it to the pipe right here. So I got to cut that off too. Hopefully without cutting the pipe. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, we'll then move to the front. Okay, we're going to heat up this first one. Now we'll heat up this next one. Did I miss one?
Oh, a little slower.
What's that?
Be careful handing it to me. This fish now.
Okay. And then the last one. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on this knob here to hopefully help me get this thing off of the hanger, pull it out of the rubber. So the pipe is pretty loose up here, going to the rear. And these flanges should just come down now. Like that. There it is. And then wiggle it out of the other pipe. And it's out. Then don't forget to take the old gasket off. And we'll take the new pipe, try to assemble it in the reverse order. So we'll put it in the pipe first. Put it in the hanger. And then connect the flanges. Since the exhaust pipe kit only came with 2 new nuts, I'm going to reuse 2 of the old nuts. They're in pretty good condition. I'm not sure if when we replaced this before, if we didn't replace the studs the last time. And it came with 4 studs and four nuts. Yeah. I couldn't be sure that the threads on the new nuts match the possible replacement studs. So I'm going to go ahead and use the old nuts. Okay, I feel pretty good that those are lined up pretty good. So the first flange that we're going to tighten up is this one because let's call it a donut flange because it's a tapered flange and this is immovable. So we tighten this one first because it's kind of like self-centering. Tight. Make sure the gasket is centered. Tight. Next we'll put a hose clamp on. Since the split and the pipe are on the sides, I'm going to put the nuts facing up, so it's actually going to clamp this way. And you want the nuts facing up. You don't want them down or too much to the side, because if they catch something, let them catch the muffler instead of the clamp. And let's see, that's pretty tight. Pretty snug. Hanger looks nice and centered. I think we're done.